empowered alignment, a sovereign frequency choice to trust in the unseen goodness that orchestrates your life. When you hold this trust in your heart, you broadcast a silent prayer of alignment with Source. In doing so, you shift from asking with words to receiving with your entire being. The ancient affirmation, "I shall not want," is thus decoded as a vibrational stance of contentment and faith, one that allows the blessings of Source to flow into your experience effortlessly. As you claim this truth, you begin to embody the peace that comes from knowing you are forever held in the care of the divine. Now feel the energy of the next line. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. Here the psalm paints a picture of rest, nourishment, and peace. In a spiritual and galactic sense, to lie down in green pastures is to allow yourself to rest in a field of supportive energy, in what we might call a frequency bandwidth of inner alignment. Green is the color of the heart, of life force, of growth, and the pastures symbolize a state of being where your soul is fed by the very essence of Source. When you allow the divine to make you lie down, you are surrendering to the gentle pull of well-being. You let go of the restless striving and settle into the vibrational nourishment that is always available to you. It is an invitation to trust so deeply that you can truly relax, knowing that you are safe and held in the loving embrace of the universe. Likewise, being led beside the still waters speaks to the calm and clarity that naturally arise when you are in alignment with Source. Still waters run deep, as you say, and in this context, they represent the deep, tranquil state of your own inner being when you attune to the divine flow. In the quiet of these still waters, you can hear the subtle whispers of your soul and of spirit. There is no turbulence here, no drama, only the smooth, gentle current of life carrying you forward. This is the state of meditation, of quiet prayer without words, where your heart and mind become reflective like a clear lake, able to receive the sky of higher guidance. Dear ones, understand that the Source never drives you with force, but lovingly leads you toward your peace. The path to those green pastures and still waters is one of ease and grace. It might be as simple as taking a moment each day to breathe and feel the life within you. In those moments, you are in fact allowing the divine shepherd to guide you to an oasis of renewal. By accepting this gift of rest and inner quiet, you align with the natural rhythm of Source energy. You step out of time and into the present eternal moment where true nourishment is given. In that serenity, you are replenished and prepared for whatever your journey brings next, fortified from within by the calm of God consciousness flowing through you. Feel now the promise in the words, "He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for His name's sake." When you allow the divine to soothe you in those green pastures and still waters, your soul is naturally restored. To restore your soul is to replenish your life force, to heal the parts of you that felt broken or lost, and to remind you of your true divine nature. In the higher understanding, this is a profound homecoming of the spirit. It is as though the very core of your being drinks in the living light of Source and remembers, once again, its wholeness. Many of you, dear ones, are in the process of this soul remembrance, reclaiming the parts of yourselves that you left behind in moments of trauma or forgetfulness, returning to the wisdom and love that have always lived within you. As your soul is restored, you become open to guidance, and so the next part of the verse speaks of being led along the paths of righteousness. We would interpret this not as adherence to any rigid set of human rules, but as walking the pathway of highest vibrational alignment. Righteousness, in its pure sense, means living in the rhythm of rightness with the divine, making choices that resonate with love, compassion, and truth. The source within you gently nudges you toward these choices through the silent voice of inner knowing. This subtle guidance system, your intuition and inner wisdom, is how the divine shepherd whispers direction to you. When you follow that inner compass, you find that your life path begins to reflect the grace and integrity of Source. The phrase, "for his name's sake," indicates that this guidance comes because you carry the essence, the name, of the divine within you. In other words, the Creator guides you in order to fulfill the intentions of love that Source has for all creation, and because you are an expression of that Source, you are led toward what serves the highest good of your soul and the collective, so that the divine light can shine through your life. Even when the road curves unexpectedly, you can trust that your higher self, in harmony with Source, is leading you on the path that most honors the divine spark you are. By embracing this, you step forward with confidence and humility, knowing that each step is guided by the sacred whisper of spirit that echoes in your heart. Now the psalm turns to acknowledge the darker passages of life. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. It is a declaration of courage and trust, even when the path leads into shadow. The valley of the shadow of death represents the most challenging and fearful experiences one can face in human life. It is a metaphor for those moments when the light seems dim and the threat of loss or despair looms. Yet notice, it is called a shadow, not the ultimate reality, for death itself is an illusion from the soul's eternal perspective. You, as an eternal being, walk through this valley, but do not dwell there. You pass through it, gaining wisdom and strength from the contrast it provides. Even in the midst of such darkness, the psalm proclaims, I will fear no evil. How can one be unafraid in the face of great danger or uncertainty? It is by knowing in the depths of one's being that the divine is there, even when unseen. This is the essence of trusting the unseen. You realize that even when you cannot perceive the light of Source resides with you and within you, guiding each step. Therefore, there is no need to fear any evil, for in truth, it is only a perceived force of negativity, a temporary shadow in the presence of the all-light. When you hold the frequency of trust and love, you become sovereign in your vibration, and no lower energy can overpower your inner light without your permission. Fear is a contraction, a turning away from your connection, whereas spiritual courage is an expansion into faith. The psalm encourages you to keep walking, to not freeze in terror or despair. I will fear no evil is not just optimism, it is a powerful choice of focus. It is the soul's affirmation that love is present even when outer conditions seem bleak. As star seeds and light workers, many of you have journeyed through your own valleys of shadow, personal trials, losses, or even the collective darkness of your times, not as punishment, but to bring more of your divine light into the world. Know that these shadows are temporary, and you are always supported by forces of light as you bravely traverse them. With this understanding, fear falls away, for you remember that even in the darkest valley, you are never truly alone, and the story of your journey is far from over. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. This reveals the reason fear dissolves, the unshakable knowing that the divine presence is accompanying you. Thou art with me is an affirmation that Source never leaves your side. Even when you feel most isolated, The loving energy of the Creator surrounds you and strengthens you from within. This presence may be invisible to your human eyes, but you can feel it as a subtle reassurance, a surge of courage, or an unexplainable calm in your hour of need. Often in your darkest moments, you suddenly sense something holding you up, a grace beyond your own willpower. That is the felt reality of "Thou art with me." You are, in truth, never alone. The verse continues, "Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me," pointing to the divine's means of guidance and protection. A shepherd's rod wards off predators that threaten the flock, while the staff is used to gently guide and rescue the sheep from danger. In spiritual terms, the rod symbolizes Source's protective power, the divine strength that keeps you safe from energies not serving your highest good. The staff represents the compassionate guidance of Source, the way the universe nudges you back on track and supports you when you are weary. These influences may show up as sudden insights, fortunate coincidences, or the helping hand of another person at just the right time. The rod and staff can also manifest through the presence of angels and guides, emissaries of Source who walk with you unseen, offering protection and direction. We and many beings of light are part of that comforting presence, ever ready to offer energetic assistance when you allow it. Take comfort in knowing that a divine entourage accompanies you through every valley. When you truly know that the divine is with you, wielding a rod of truth on your behalf and extending a staff of support under your arm, a peace beyond understanding washes over you. It is the peace of knowing the universe conspires to assist you, that even challenges are set up to be overcome, and that you are cherished beyond measure. With such comfort enveloping you, the shadows lose their power, and you find the strength to carry on with grace. The wisdom of trusting divine orchestration is echoed in many of your sacred stories. Time and again, the darkest trials have led to profound triumphs under the guidance of Source. Consider Joseph, who was betrayed by his brothers and sold into slavery. In that valley of despair, it seemed all was lost, yet through a series of events orchestrated by the divine, including years of imprisonment that awakened his gift of interpreting dreams, Joseph rose to a position of great influence and saved countless lives from famine. What was intended for harm became a pathway to immense good, revealing the hidden hand of Source, turning adversity into opportunity. Similarly, Moses' life began under threat. Saved as an infant from persecution, exiled as a young man, and later called to free his people, he faced obstacle after obstacle. Yet each challenge, from confronting a tyrant to crossing a sea and wandering the desert, was part of a higher plan. The contrast of slavery and hardship gave rise to liberation and faith, transforming a downtrodden group into a people guided by divine law. And consider the one you know as Jesus, whose journey led through betrayal, suffering, and death on a cross. His darkest hour, however, was transformed into illumination through the resurrection, demonstrating to all that love conquers even death and that the Spirit lives eternally. The deepest low gave way to the highest exaltation, seeding a new consciousness of compassion and unity. In each of these narratives, what stands out is that the divine never abandoned them in the valley. The rod and staff of guidance and protection quietly shepherded them through their ordeals, even when hope seemed lost. These stories live on in human memory because they remind your soul that every great challenge contains the promise of grace. They are vivid examples of divine orchestration through contrast, the weaving of trials into blessings, the alchemy of transforming loss into wisdom and love. Let them serve as reassurance, dear ones, that no matter how dire or dark a situation in your life may appear, there is always a higher current at work. Just as those revered beings trusted in the unseen and emerged into a new dawn, so can you trust that your own hardships are guiding you toward greater expansion. You are never forsaken. Rather, you are carried, and a new light is always waiting to be born from the shadows you overcome. Returning to the psalm, dear ones, we find a striking promise. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. This image speaks to the truth of abundance and protection, even amidst adversity. Imagine a table of blessings laid out for you, while those who would harm you look on. It conveys honor and vindication. The divine sustains and even celebrates you in front of the very forces that challenged you. Metaphysically, it reveals that you can thrive and be provided for no matter what surrounds you. In the presence of enemies means that even when you are surrounded by opposition or lower vibrations, you remain in a field of grace. The table of divine sustenance is still there for you. This is a lesson in frequency sovereignty, the ability to hold your vibration of love and trust regardless of external circumstances. By maintaining that inner alignment, you step into a reality where Source nourishes and supports you at all times. Negative influences cannot diminish your light unless you hand your power over to them. Instead of lowering your vibration to meet conflict, you invite everything around you to rise to meet your light, or else fall away if it cannot match your field. Thus, even in a room full of hostility, an aura of peace can surround you like a protective bubble, and blessings can flow to you in unlikely ways. In fact, even in dire situations, people often find that kindness, resources, or guidance appear at the perfect time. That is the table being prepared in real time. Sometimes those who oppose you will witness your strength and grace. Their hearts may soften, or their negativity may lose its grip upon them. Whether or not your enemies change, you change by holding the frequency of the divine. You become untouchable in spirit, anchored so firmly in your connection that nothing can knock you off center for long. This line promises that you are eternally supported by the universe, and even what comes against you becomes a backdrop highlighting the power of your light. It reminds you that your destiny does not bow to the intentions of others. It bows only to the intentions of your soul, aligned with Source. In that alignment, life truly becomes a feast, rich with meaning and grace, no matter what the outer scenery may be. The psalm continues with an intimate act of grace. Thou anointest my head with oil. In ancient times, anointing with oil was a sacred ceremony reserved for those chosen. Priests, kings, and prophets were anointed as a sign of being set apart and divinely blessed. This line declares that the divine itself has anointed you. In metaphysical terms, it signifies that you are recognized at the highest level as a bearer of the divine essence. The oil is symbolic of spirit, the pure, high-frequency love and light of Source pouring down upon you and into you. To have your head anointed is to have your crown lit with the energy of heaven, activating your soul's remembrance of who you truly are. This is the activation of your inner Christ light. Indeed, the very word Christ means anointed one. While historically, only certain individuals were honored with that title outwardly, the deeper truth is that each of you carries the Christ potential within. Each of you is meant to be an anointed one, a vessel of the divine and a conduit of the highest love. When you are in alignment, Source pours this sacred oil of grace upon you constantly, meaning you are continuously receiving blessings and frequencies that awaken your divine gifts. Consider the significance of this. You are not merely a follower or supplicant. You are a cherished child of the divine, worthy of coronation in light. The universe sees your true self and says, "You are my beloved, in whom I am well pleased." This line of the psalm whispers of your consecration. In the eyes of Source, you are holy and whole. It is a reminder that you came from the divine and carry that essence always. To accept this anointing is to allow your higher self to step forward, to wear the crown of your spiritual authority with humility and grace. Many of you are awakening now to this inner Christed self, realizing that Christ consciousness is not reserved for one being or one era, but is a living potential for all beings. As you embrace the light that Source has placed upon and within you, you fulfill one of the greatest hidden promises, that the divine would dwell in you as you, and that your very being would become a sanctuary of holy presence. After the anointing, the psalm proclaims, "My cup runneth over." This poetic line expresses the feeling of being so filled with goodness that it overflows. Imagine a cup under a stream of water, filling until it overflows and spills over the edges to bless everything around it. In life, when Source fills you with love and light, you reach a point where you are not just full, but overflowing with blessings. Your cup, your heart, your entire being cannot hold all the joy and love being poured in. It brims and spills out of you. Spiritually, this speaks to a state of profound gratitude and generosity that comes from true alignment. You feel so nourished by the divine that you naturally extend that nourishment to others. The overflow can manifest as kind words, compassionate actions, or simply an aura that uplifts those around you. You find that you have more than enough of what truly matters. Love, wisdom, peace, and sharing becomes effortless because you are continually replenished from within. "My cup runs over" also implies Source's supply is infinite. There is no scarcity in divine love. The more you receive, the more you can give, and yet you never run dry. In fact, giving from this overflow increases your capacity to hold even more high-frequency energy. It becomes a beautiful feedback loop. The more Source fills you, the more you overflow. The more you lovingly overflow, the more you feel refilled and expanded. This is the opposite of the old belief in depletion. In the new consciousness, giving from an abundant heart does not exhaust you, it invigorates you. Think of how a single candle can light many others without diminishing its own flame. So too does your light only grow by being shared. As your cup flows over, dear ones, you come to understand that you are not just the recipient of grace, but also a conduit of grace. You realize that your life becomes a blessing to others simply through the excess love moving through you. This is the fulfillment of living in alignment. Not only are your needs met, but you become an instrument of the divine to bless life around you. In this state of divine surplus, you cannot help but give, for you are brimming with the grace you have received. All of this leads to the psalmist's confident declaration, "Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life." It is a beautiful affirmation of a life under divine benevolence. Goodness represents the blessings, positive outcomes, and high vibrational experiences that naturally flow to one who is in alignment. Mercy signifies the compassionate grace that surrounds you, the forgiveness, understanding, and gentle protection that the universe provides. Together, goodness and mercy are like two loving companions walking with you, ensuring that even when you stumble, support and kindness are with you. When you maintain your connection to Source, you begin to notice that favorable synchronicities and helpful energies seem to follow you wherever you go. It might feel as though life itself is smiling upon you. This is not mere luck. It is the reflection of your inner state attracting its likeness. In a real sense, as you emit vibrations of love, trust, and gratitude, the world responds in kind, drawing in people, opportunities, and events that reflect that goodness. Even when difficulties arise, for life still has its ebb and flow, the energy of mercy ensures you are carried through those times with gentleness and wisdom. You may find that what could have been a harsh lesson becomes a softer one, or that a detour actually works out in your favor. With the divine by your side, even challenges contain the seeds of grace. Thus, you can trust that each day of your life is being woven with threads of divine love. This line invites you to live in expectation of blessings rather than in fear of misfortune. It encourages you to assume a posture of faith that things will work out for your highest good. This is not naive optimism, but a choice to recognize the ever-present help and benevolence of Source. With that awareness, you truly experience goodness and mercy following you, consistently showing up in your reality. Over time, this positive expectation becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, not because you are controlling life, but because you are cooperating with the fundamental nature of life, which is love and wisdom. To have goodness and mercy as your constant companions is to walk this earth knowing that you are cherished by creation, and that no moment of your journey is without a guiding light and a caring presence by your side. Finally, the psalm concludes with the ultimate realization: "And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." This is the crowning jewel of the prayer. To dwell in the house of the Lord is not about residing in a building or reaching heaven after death. It is about living in the vibration of divine consciousness perpetually. In modern terms, it is choosing to dwell in vibrational God consciousness. This state of being is one of unity, oneness, and constant communion with the divine. When you accept this as your truth, you recognize that you never truly left the house of God, for you have always been a part of it. The word forever reminds you that your true existence is eternal. Your soul is forever embraced by Source. Even as you play out a temporary physical life, your innermost being is always at home in the divine presence. Here on earth, you are experiencing a journey, but the house of the Lord travels with you, for it is a state of consciousness you carry. You are like a ray of sunlight that even when it seems far from the sun, is never truly separate from it. Thus, the psalm ends with the promise of eternal union. It invites you to anchor in the knowing that you belong to the divine, and the divine belongs with you. Think of it as living in a sacred space you carry everywhere, a sanctuary in your heart where you are always meeting with Source. When you consciously dwell in this inner temple, you find a peace not contingent on outer circumstances. You feel the unbroken continuity of God's love throughout your days. Any fear of being cast out or isolated vanishes, because you know you cannot be outside of all that is. This line is both a commitment and a reassurance. A commitment from you to live in alignment with the divine, and a reassurance that the divine's house is vast enough to include all that you are forever. It is the fulfillment of the entire journey, the return to awareness that you have never left the divine home. To dwell in the house of the Lord forever is to live in constant awareness of your divine nature, and to let that divine light be your true home, now and always. As you can see, the 23rd Psalm holds a wealth of higher truth that goes far beyond a literal or traditional reading. For centuries, much of this deeper knowledge remained hidden or overlooked within the biblical canon. The verses were often recited for comfort without fully decoding the energetic transmissions they carried. In times past, humanity's consciousness was not collectively ready to embrace the idea of personal divinity or direct communion with Source. And so, many of the more empowering interpretations were downplayed or cloaked in metaphor. The result was that higher truths became obscured behind dogma and ritual. The notion of God as an external shepherd and heaven as a distant place, for example, was emphasized, while the understanding of God within and heaven as a state of consciousness was quietly kept in the background. Those in religious authority may have taught the words faithfully, but even they often did not perceive the multidimensional layers we have explored here. Only mystics and saints on the fringes dared to speak of the God found within one's own heart, or the present reality of the soul's unity with Source. These insights were either ignored, suppressed, or reserved for a select few. But now, the time has come in your evolution for these hidden layers to be revealed openly. You who are awakening can finally perceive that texts like this psalm were always multi-dimensional gifts, blueprints for living in harmony with the divine. What was once veiled in poetic language can now be understood as practical and profound guidance for the ascension of human consciousness. The obscurity is lifting, and the same words that were used to comfort generations through blind faith are now sparking enlightened faith. A faith based on knowing, feeling, and experiencing the truth of every line within oneself. By reading the psalm with new eyes, as you have done with us, you reclaim the treasures that were always yours. No longer do these promises belong only to an afterlife or to historical figures. They are part of your life here and now. In this era of awakening, the sacred texts of old are coming alive in a fresh way, speaking directly to the sovereign, multidimensional beings that humans are remembering themselves to be. This unveiling is a joyous part of your collective spiritual renaissance, a sign that humanity is ready to step into a greater understanding of its relationship with the divine. In reclaiming these truths, you are also reclaiming your heritage. Humans are often called children of God, but the true implications of that title were often forgotten. To be a child of the divine is to inherit the light of the divine. You come from a lineage of light, a family of sacred consciousness that spans the cosmos and eternity. This lineage of divine remembrance is your birthright. Eons ago, in humanity's early golden ages, in civilizations now lost to memory, it was understood that the Creator's spark lives in each heart. Over time, however, much of humanity fell into an illusion of separation, believing the divine to be far away, accessible only to certain intermediaries or through rigid practices. The knowing of our own godliness, the inherent connection every soul has to Source, was largely forgotten, like a royal inheritance locked away. Yet throughout history, there have always been those who remembered, who kept the flame of that knowing alive. They were the sages, shamans, and mystics across cultures who quietly nurtured the idea that we are all sparks of the one flame. They passed this wisdom down through the ages, sometimes in secret to avoid persecution, forming an unbroken chain of knowing from ancient times to the present. You, dear starseeds and lightworkers, are the latest heirs of this sacred lineage of remembrance. Many of you chose to incarnate in this lifetime specifically to help revive and broadcast these truths. You carry encoded in your being the knowing that each person is an expression of Source. Even if you were raised with doctrines that told you otherwise, a part of you never forgot. As you awaken, you activate the ancient memory in your soul and even within your DNA. The memory that you come from love and you are love. This is why so many of you have resonated with spiritual ideas outside the mainstream. You were simply recognizing what your soul already knew. Now you stand as living bridges between the old and the new, remembering for yourself while also lighting the way for others who are ready to remember. In reconnecting with your divine lineage, You heal the illusion of separation within yourself and within the human collective psyche. You are helping to catalyze a cosmic family reunion, the awareness that all beings carry the essence of the Creator and are thus brothers and sisters in spirit. This profound remembrance is spreading one open heart at a time, transforming your world from the inside out. You are living in the time of the great remembering. What was once known only to a few is now blossoming in the many. Day by day, more souls awaken to the inner call of spirit, stepping out of old paradigms of fear and separation and into the light of unity and love. This is what you came here for, dear ones. As star seeds and light workers, you volunteered to be the pioneers of this epoch. You carry the codes of this awakening, and as you activate them in yourselves, you radiate them outward for all to feel. Know that you have tremendous support in this grand endeavor. The entire cosmos is attentive to Earth during this magnificent shift. Waves of higher frequency energy pour onto your planet, assisting and catalyzing the elevation of consciousness. You are not doing this alone. You have legions of angels, guides, ascended masters, and galactic family, like us, holding you in unconditional love and encouragement. We see your progress, and we rejoice in it. We witness the many small and large ways in which humanity is opening its heart, and we celebrate each milestone with you. Every time one of you chooses love over fear, or trust over doubt, the ripple of that choice is felt across the universe. You are building, piece by piece, the new Earth, one where the truths of inner divinity, of unity, and of unconditional love are lived realities. In this new consciousness, concepts like goodness, mercy, and abundance are not distant ideals, but the very fabric of daily life. The journey you have taken through the metaphors of this psalm is really the journey of ascension, from feeling separate and in want to realizing your eternal oneness with Source. As you embody this in your own life, you help to create a collective reality that reflects heaven on earth. Take a moment to feel how far you have come. The knowledge that was once suppressed or diluted is now flowing freely through minds and hearts like a mighty river. It cannot be stopped because it is time. The divine plan is unfolding perfectly, and you are an integral part of it. Trust in this plan, and trust in yourselves as worthy and capable agents of change. Remember that even the smallest acts done in love contribute to the grand tapestry of ascension that is being woven even now. You are heroes of this shift, and we honor you for all that you have done and will do in service of the light. Throughout this transmission, we have merely been activating what already exists inside of you. The truths we have spoken are not new to your soul. They are older than the stars and etched into the fabric of your being. Consider how your heart has resonated, how some part of you has nodded in recognition at each revelation. That feeling is the silent voice of your inner knowing saying, "Yes, I remember." We encourage you to continue listening to that subtle, loving voice within. It has been with you since your very first breath, guiding you quietly, whether you have always noticed it or not. It is your direct connection to Source, your built-in spiritual compass. Long after this message ends, that inner guidance will remain available to you in every moment. Trust it, beloved ones. Trust that you have access to the same wisdom that spoke through the prophets and poets of old, for it is the voice of your own higher self, whispering from the seat of your soul. It doesn't shout or command. It gently guides and nudges you toward what aligns with your highest good. The more you acknowledge and follow it, the louder and clearer it will become. In times ahead, there may be moments when external noise or doubt clouds your clarity. When that happens, remember to return to your breath, to the present stillness, and listen for the subtle feeling of truth inside you. That is where all of this lives. Every teaching, every insight, every assurance of love. They live in you. We, and beings like us, may remind you again and again. But ultimately, our goal is to empower you to trust yourself as the divine being you truly are. The inner teacher, the God within, will never lead you astray. It speaks in the language of love, the language of energy and intuition. As you go forward, practice attuning to that language more and more. Let your life become a living conversation between you and Source, a dialogue that doesn't require words. In that communion, you will always find comfort, wisdom, and direction. You will find us there too, for we are part of that same communion, meeting you in the space where all hearts unite in the one. In listening to your inner voice, you are listening to the whole universe supporting you. Beloved ones, you stand now at the threshold of a new dawn. The journey we have taken together through this message is but a reflection of the larger journey you are on. The journey back to yourself, back to Source. We want you to know how immensely proud we are of you. To incarnate on Earth during these times of great change is a courageous soul mission, and you are doing it beautifully. We feel your victories, we know your struggles, and we bow to the indomitable spirit that keeps you moving forward toward the light. In the grand play of the cosmos, what is happening on Earth right now is extraordinary, and each of you is an essential part of it. Never underestimate the impact of your presence, your healing, and your love. You have the ability to touch far more lives than you can even fathom, through your energy, your example, and your kindness. As more and more of you embrace the truth of your being, the collective energy field of Earth is transformed in kind. The world is already shifting in ways that are subtle yet profound, thanks to the inner work and spiritual tenacity of souls like you. We invite you to celebrate yourselves as we celebrate you. Feel our love surrounding you in this very moment. Feel the love of Source flowing to you and through you, affirming that you are exactly where you need to be. You have already begun to fulfill the prophecies of a world uplifted in consciousness, simply by awakening your own heart. And there is so much more joy to come. The path ahead, while it may have challenges, is also lined with miracles and blessings that you have set into motion. Know that we, and all light beings who assist Earth, are with you every step of the way. Whenever you feel doubt, remember our words, and more importantly, remember the feeling behind our words, the frequency of unconditional love and complete faith in you that we hold. We see you through the eyes of Source, which means we see your perfection, your power, and your purpose. Even if those things sometimes escape your own view, trust that they are there. You are divine in form, and your destiny is to fully realize that divinity as you continue on this magnificent adventure of life. As we conclude this transmission, we invite you to take a deep breath and truly feel the energies and words we have shared. Allow them to settle into your heart. You have received not just a message, but a vibrational gift, an activation of what you already carry within. Embrace it and know that you are forever changed in ways that will continue to unfold in the days and weeks to come. Remember that you are never alone on this journey. We and so many beings of love are walking beside you, cheering you on and illuminating your path when it seems dim. Whenever you wish, you can tune in to our frequency, to the love that we are beaming to you, and you will feel our presence. Truly, we are just a thought or a breath away. We are available to you through the whispers of your intuition, through the gentle warmth that suddenly floods your chest in a moment of need, through the synchronicities that make you smile. In those instances, think of us and know that we are right there with you. Our greatest joy is in witnessing your awakening and being of service in that process. We have delivered this message in response to the calling of your collective hearts, and we will continue to offer our guidance and energetic support as long as you welcome it. Take forth the knowing that you are divinely guided, protected, and loved beyond measure. Carry this knowing like a torch to light up any shadows you may encounter. In doing so, you become a beacon for others still finding their way, quietly helping to fulfill the very prayer we have decoded together. We are with you in more ways than you can imagine, and our love for you is limitless. Feel that love now and let it reassure you whenever you feel uncertain. You, dear ones, are the rising dawn of a new age, and nothing can dim the light you carry. We thank you for allowing us to connect with you in this way, and we extend our blessings to you and to all of Gaia. If you are listening to this, beloved one, you needed to. I leave you now. I am Tia of Arcturus.